everyone. 7 Octoberz here with another episode of Nightmare on Sedgwick Avenue. This will be season 7 as we're recording this. It hasn't just dropped yet, but I have a dope guest. I'll kind of like introduce him, and then I kind of give a backstory once I get him here introduced and everything, like a backstory of how we know each other. But he goes by Zander Comix. He's an artist, graphic designer, comic artist, owner of Zander Comix. So welcome, Zander, to the podcast. How you doing?
Very well. How about you?
Good, good. I don't know if you want to kind of like we'll dive into like how we met because I didn't put two and two together. It was so crazy. Like the last event that I was at, that you threw at, it said I forget the place. It's Hopnonymous or
Yeah,
the brewery that
Hopnonymous
we're at.
Brewery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hopnonymous Brewery. Yeah, so you had like a cool event there, or like part of your tour, and there's other like comic book artists and stuff like that. And they had other vendors, food vendors, and stuff like that. And then I kind of put two and two together that I had bought art from you like a while back, like years back, because I have like a Tupac piece of yours that I got at the Kobe swap meet. So whoever's from San Diego knows where Kobe's is. But I didn't know that you were the artist. Like I knew when I added you on social media, I was like, I followed you and I was like, I've seen him before, but I don't know where. And then until we like saw each other in person and you're like, oh, you got my piece. I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know. So it's kind of
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
small little like world and like a full circle moment.
Yes, yes. Most definitely.
Yeah. And that kind of leads to my first question about like how did you get started as far as like, with art, like what gravitated you towards art and kind of like maybe your journey too, like share about your journey because like I said I first met you at the Kobe swap meet and then now you've obviously your journey's taking you into the book world and stuff like that.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, art was from the beginning of my life. It was always a part of it as far as, just being, even before I was born, my dad was an artist. He was a break dancer. He
Nice.
drew. And my mom is really a business savvy, individual. So I kind of got both of those worlds where yes, I was drawing, but also every summer, every weekend, I had a lemonade stand, Kool-Aid stand, or chips and salsa stand. You know what I'm saying? Something where I'm hustling. Just it wasn't even about money. I don't know if it was I kind of visualize it as like playing when I was younger.
Hmm.
That's how I like to play. Is you're telling me I could turn this powder of lemonade powder and put a gallon of water and then make some lemonade out of it and then cool
Yeah.
it and I can go sell for 50 cents a cup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I always thought that was kind of fun. So I had both of those worlds as the start of my life. So art, it started off with comic books and cartoons, and then it quickly became about films and music. And I think by the time I was 18, 19 years old, I kind of wanted to mix both those worlds. And I wanted to be a professional in comic books. I wanted to not only do that, but I wanted to have something that I created be enjoyed by the masses. And I got very inspired by the artist Russ, which we both know.
Yes.
Um, Around 16, 17 years old, he inspired me to want to do my own thing. And then by the time that came around where I was no longer in high school, there was no I'm going to college or I'm going to go do the art institute or there was none of that for me, and
Hmm.
there was no room for complaining or even thinking that was not think I never even thought that was like a handicap position.
Hmm.
I just particularly didn't know what I wanted to do when I was in school because I wrestled, but I didn't want to wrestle in college. I played basketball. I was never going to play basketball in college.
Yeah.
So I just I didn't have it fully developed yet until the very end of high school. And I was like, I want to be an artist. I want to do what Russ is doing, but in this field for drawing.
Hmm.
I want to be a comic book artist who works in their studio and doesn't have to go to a day job or
Yeah.
go to an office to work as an artist. I like the idea of staying home and creating. And actually, there was not very much of a platform or even example for people my age at that time for something like that. I was actually going off of the Frank Millers and the Jack Kirbys of comic books, where I'm seeing their careers as a whole.
Yeah.
And when they're in their 50s or their 40s, then that's when they were being able to stay home and, work on
Yeah.
these iconic projects and not have to be, in a working environment the very stereotypical way, I guess. And so
Hmm.
I had a privileged idea and thought process only because I studied the greats.
Yeah, oh, that's interesting. That's really cool. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that is true, and that kind of leads me to a question about like, with you with your art, because I know a lot of like for myself, I'll talk about myself. Like I have to juggle like a regular 9 to 5, and then doing the creative stuff outside of work, just because right now it's the only way it's feasible for me. For
Correct.
you, are you like doing full time being an artist, or do you have like a side hustle, or how does it work for you? And like what?
So
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. So, oh
No.
no, my bad. My apologies. So full time artist. It's been about 4 years now, going on 5 for full time. Luckily, actually, right before COVID, I had went full time maybe about 4 or 5 months before COVID and the shutdown hit.
Okay.
And that was about 4 or 5 years prior to get to that point because I had jobs at Costco. I was flipping burgers at Five Guys. I was working at Michael's Arts and Crafts, Ross.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I was at Kobe Swap Meet where you met me. And
Yeah.
so I actually, for the longest time, that was my 9 to 5 day job. Was
Okay.
Kobe Swap Meet. When I got to the point where, um, again, first couple years after shutdown, we were able to right after shutdown we were able to, or when everything opened back up, we were able to go back to Kobe Swap Meet. And I had tried Kobe Swap Meet since I was 18 years old, and I was selling my artwork off the ground when I was always struggling to get enough money to come back to Kobe's. I always wanted to do
Mm.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And if I couldn't get enough money Saturday, there's no Sunday for me. And so for the longest time, I wasn't able to do both days of the weekend. That's kind of how I would find if I'm ready. And then so by the time shutdown happened, and then we came back from shutdown, we went to Kobe Swap Meet. Me and my wife, we partnered together finally. She had quit her full time job,
Oh wow. Yeah.
and she's actually the greatest artist I've ever met in my life. That's not because I married her. That's just because
Yeah.
it's the truth. And for a lot of the people that have met me, they've met her and they know. So when we decided to do that together, we were able to invest both of our monies into a store, set up for a store, and we kind of hit the ground running from there. And that was about
Hmm.
2021.
Okay.
We're damn near 3, almost 4 years later,
Yeah.
going on it. And it's crazy how the time flies.
Yeah.
But yeah, ever since then, everything has kind of pivoted. But I've been full time since 2019. Everything had a pivot. Online sales were crazy in 2020 because no one could leave their home, so they
Yeah.
needed stuff in their rooms. They needed to
Yeah.
fill it up like my wall right here,
Yeah.
and then in 2021, people missed human interaction
Yeah.
and engagement, and so there was a big blast from that. And then 2022 kind of hit that. Oh snap! Kobe Swap Meet. This market over here, this market over there isn't gonna work. What is it that we need to do because things were changing and they were changing rapidly.
Yeah.
And what I decided to do towards the very end of 2022, because what our option was, all right, weekdays, it's no longer weekends anymore, weekdays, and we got to pop up where they're not even allowing people to pop up at. We got to go pop at places that we're not sure if we can be here. So we started doing that.
Yeah.
In 2022, we did 250 pop up shops.
Oh wow.
And at the very end, I don't know if you're familiar with Designer Con, we did
Yeah.
Designer Con. So which is like a designer toy, and that'll be a full circle once we get there. But
Yeah.
2022 at the very end, we did Designer Con. It was my first convention with my artwork. We did really well with the business that we had been working on for the last few years prior.
Hmm.
We did really well. And then at the end of that con, 3 day event, I said, I don't want to do any of the stuff that I was doing before. I don't want to draw any more of my favorite artists because I'm done. I actually care about the people that I'm drawing, so I can't do this anymore because it's not a viable business forever.
Yeah.
Um, and so I said, I want to work on my own designs, my own energy. Let's make comic books. Like, what are we doing? You know,
Yeah.
I draw in comic book format, but I don't make comics anymore. I made them when I was in fourth grade. Me and
Yeah.
my friends, we used to make them and print them up and staple them, sell them to the classmates. What happened to that kid? So I kind of wanted to go back to that because it was a big toy convention and just reminded me, truthfully, of my past and my whole life as a whole,
Yeah.
and it very much inspired me to do what I'm doing now.
That's really inspirational to hear that. That's pretty cool because, like you said, like as an artist, you have to evolve too, and like you said, like drawing. Like obviously, your art is pretty dope. I have them like on the sides. I don't have them here. Like they're in my room, but they're on the sides. The pieces that I have of yours. But that's cool that you said that how you wanted to kind of do something, kind of like something of your own, right? That it's your name and it's something original. Because the drawing, there's a lot of people that do artist drawings, right? Like of like rappers. In your case, you've done like artist. And then I don't know about your wife. What did she start with too? Like as far as like her art.
Well, as far as her art in general, she's actually a very great concept artist. She thinks she's not, but as far as the time period when we started our business together, yes, it was known faces, her favorite musicians or
Yeah.
actors, and so we kind of collaborated as that. Yeah, so but she's very much eclectic in that way, where anything she picks up, she can
Yeah.
make it. So sculpting, it's
Oh.
kind of hard to explain, but
Yeah.
she creates whatever's in her mind, and she's a trip.
Yeah.
She's really a trip.
That's pretty
So
cool.
I can't even describe it. It's like surrealism,
Yeah.
and then also too, if you see some of her work, it's the craziest realism you could like get to. So anything really,
Yeah. Yeah.
anything. She's actually
That's
a big part of the buddies.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and that kind of leads to my next question, right? Because you were talking about Designer Con and how you wanted to make your own stuff, and now you have buddies. And if you want to talk about that for people listening in, because that's like your latest toy that you've created.
Yes. Yes. So the buddies, I'm all excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
The buddies is actually something we've been working on for about 2 years now. Um, Last year we were selling hand sculpted prototypes and hand painted prototypes. And so what I mean by that is she was sculpting Ariana Page was sculpting and hand painting sculpty clay, and it was kind of looking like this, right?
Oh, a little bit more to the side.
Oh,
Right there.
sorry
There we
about
go.
that.
There we go.
Boom. So this is this is an official buddy. But what she was doing prior was sculpting live pieces of art, and we were selling them right up front. And I was developing what would be called the buddy. And so
Yeah.
actually at our markets, our street fairs and stuff like that, um, I was developing the motto for buddies, which is buddies. You know, friends come and go, or they may come and go. Bud always goes too quickly, but these
Yeah.
buddies, they stay forever. And so
Yeah.
what this actually is a design that I did when I was like 14, 15 years old, you know,
Oh
kind of the
wow.
era
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
time period I was starting to smoke some cannabis.
Yeah.
And I would draw this in my notebooks. I would draw a little buddy guy, and he would have legs and arms and hands, or I would
Yeah.
just draw the little bud with the little face in it. And so this is actually a design that I had come up with when I was like a young teenager. And
Yeah.
last year, the very beginning of last year, I drew it again because I was kind of in that phase of being inspired by Designer Con,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm gonna make a toy design. I just was designing stuff, and I created the buddy design, and I wish I had it on me, but
Yeah.
it looks more like this. I just wish I had the originals on me.
Yeah.
Um, but it looked more like this, so it's a cartoon. So it really started
Okay.
from this cartoon design,
Okay.
and it evolved into a 3D sculpture. And again, Ariana Page is the one who actualized it for me. She created the whole back of what it would look like from the back,
Oh wow.
and it's it's funny as simple as it could look. This took a lot of time and effort to kind of get it perfect, and
Yeah.
even down to the colors, down to the colors. She's a huge aspect of that, but she's also kind of like a silent creative on it
Yeah.
because she doesn't make it about the buddies and stuff, and she got family members and whatnot that don't
Yeah.
necessarily
Like
wouldn't
smaller.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the buddies is something I released last week officially. This is what the first drop was. It's the 1 inch vinyl full resin figure. It's solid resin, hand painted. So I dropped those last week. This week I pre-released the bigger size, but they're actually a
Oh wow.
lighter material.
Okay.
It's more of a plastic than a resin.
Okay.
And these are the blind bags. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
like I said, pre-release. I'm dropping the footage because I went to Ninja Exchange
Yeah.
a couple days ago and had like 50 in my backpack, and I sold out.
That's cool.
Well, just walking around because I wanted to see what people felt. And
Yeah.
so the blind bags is the next thing that's kind of in the works. We're going to be at LA Comic Con. That's where I'm going to debut the blind bags in person at store. As you can kind of see, we're in the middle of trying to get things ready for it. So I got the displays here that you'll see
Yeah.
at the Comic Con and everything else. This one's not yet finished, but yeah, I've been working on that, and I actually have a really cool announcement for the buddies as an official product release whenever we have time. But yeah, the
Yeah.
buddies is it's a mixture of my two passions, which truly is cannabis and the culture around it.
Yeah.
As you can see and tell, I'm not much of like a stoner. I don't talk like this, and you know what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I consume cannabis like a chimney.
Yeah.
And I love art. I love toys, and I've always been a collector. As you can see behind me, I just got all my
Yeah.
shit, and my whole office is like this. So to be able to create something that could be a part of it
Yeah.
is probably the best thing that I've been feeling in the longest time.
Yeah, no, that's really dope, and I love the fact that you said it's like it came back like from when you were like 14 years old and you drew it, like because I think like I've been thinking about that lately for myself, is like taking back to your childhood, like your inner child, like when they say that, and now I understand it a little bit more as I'm getting older, because I'm like, yeah, it's like when you go back to like your inner child, like what made you happy, what made you the most creative. That's like the happiest place, and like that's what I tend to like. People are like, oh, you're like a little kid. I'm like, I don't care. Like that's what makes me
Right.
happy. But I love that you said that that's kind of like the creation came from that. Like, and I think when you're younger, like your creativity is just like you said. Yeah, we don't have like those things where we limit ourselves when you're a kid until you get older, and things that are fed to you, like either your parents, family members, or friends, where they're like, oh, you can't do that, and it kind of starts getting into your head. Versus when you're a kid, I think you're like a little bit more freer, right? So I love that's where the concept came from, and then obviously it's evolved since then. What about like
Thank you.
the manufacturing of it, like as far as that, because you said your wife did like the initial ones, but like now, where are you guys getting those made? Are you guys getting them manufactured somewhere else, or are you still doing them like hand?
Correct. So actually, play it 3D is where you actualize your dreams. If you're an artist, play it 3D. He's a 3D printer company. He's got
Okay.
every type of 3D printing you can think of.
Yeah.
And the best part about him is that he'll take your creation, he'll do a digital sculpt, and he's just as much of an artist that you will actually see your creation become even doper than you expected. So
Yeah.
I gave him pictures of the prototypes, one of the later prototypes that was kind of more of the this is what it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
Um, I gave him pictures of all the way around, and he digitally sculpted exactly what I sent him. And then now we are 3D printing them, and we got different forms of plastic. We got the lighter plastic. It's seriously like so light that it's mainly hollow, but they're
Yeah.
durable. They're durable.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to just break them off of a whim.
Yeah.
Again, still hand painted though, hand painted by Ariana.
Okay.
So she's still
That's like
creating
really
art.
good detail. Yeah.
Crazy detail,
Yeah.
crazy detail. These are like my favorite things to look at too.
Yeah.
Is just like how good they are, as far as the paint job goes. And
Yeah.
so that's also a big part of it. Is This is an artist toy. This is an art toy. You know, they call it designer toys, but I'm kind of in more in the realm in my mind to call it an art toy. The reason being is artists are the reason why this can even flourish. It can go further because of artists and their creativity. So you like you've probably seen with some of the release stuff that I've been putting out there with it. There's custom toy artists that are actually putting the 1 inch
Yeah, I was gonna say
on
like
top of figures,
yes, that was really dope. Like the one with the little green what's it called not a bow tie but whatever. I forgot how you what do you say, but
like
it
a
was pretty cool.
business suit. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got
like
the
a
green
business
tie
suit.
with the
Yeah,
business
yeah,
suit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And so that's actually
That's
a
pretty cool.
creative name, Action Figure God, Emilio from Action Figure God. He put the buddy's head on top of an action figure, and then kind of like a new life was born for it,
Yeah.
in that capacity. And so, Play It 3D. That's why you also see me cross promoting with Action Figure God, is to kind of give artists more hands on appreciation. Like me wanting to post with the artist that did that with the figure, is
Mhm.
me saying, hey, I think this is dope. I think this is
Yeah.
so dope that it empowers what I'm doing. It empowers something that I've been putting together for a long time. And so that's why it's really cool, because the hand painted aspect is that you can get inspired when you see it. You can get inspired in a way that kind of just goes beyond, like, oh, that's a cool toy. That's a cool
Yeah.
little, this one, you feel the hand painted. You feel the attention to detail,
Detail.
even
Yeah.
though it's a nug. I know
Yeah.
it's just a nug with a face on it, but there's
But it's
detail
still,
and
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
energy.
Not anybody can do it, yeah. Because I mean, I've tried to paint stuff, and I've seen people like I have other friends that do type of like resin type of also art, and I was like, oh, it looks like really cool and like maybe easy. But then I tried doing it. I was like, yeah, no, it's not. It's like it's a lot of like like even using like a little microscope to probably see like the little details, like to draw
Right,
those, and like the like you
right.
said, the colors too to pop. Because like even the big one that you have behind you, like I can see like there's different types of green in there, so it's also that detail. It's not like just like, oh, you just paint it like that and it's easy to do.
Right, right. And actually she did that too. She's the secret sauce to
Yeah.
all of this, man. But Play It 3D is actually as a great plug to put in, is that this, if you're
Okay.
an artist and you want to actualize your dreams, you have designs that are maybe 2D and flat, but you want
Okay.
to see it become a toy, you want to see it become something bigger than just a drawing. Play It 3D is the one to go to, because he'll sculpt it, digitally sculpt it for you, and he'll
Oh,
be
okay.
your distributor. It's depending on what you want to do. How do you take that product that you get, and how do you make it bigger, better, and also go further? Because right now we're in a time period when people hear 3D printed for, let's just say, toys, they might go, ugh. You know what I mean? Because they want it to be cast in molds and in physical sculptures, and they cast and mold it, and then you do the resin pouring inside the cast and mold. But then you look at the landscape of the field that we're in, which is custom toys, art, all that.
Mhm.
It's like 3D print. They're 3D printing organs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For the potential to be 3D printing new skin. You know what I'm saying? That,
Yeah.
like, that's where that technology is actually going, and it's a really awesome thing, because again, I didn't have enough resource to do cast and mold and get the resin and figure out how to do and be a scientist with the resin and
Yeah.
figure out the right way to do it and stuff. And that is kind of the old way. And not that the new way is, taking over. There's still so much room for all of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, what do you want to do with your ideas? Do you want to put them out there, or does everything gotta be, I have to mix my own paint? I have to make my own paint before I paint something. It's like, I'd rather just take and use what is given and
Mhm.
what's out there. I've been waiting for 3D printing my whole life, apparently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I had a
Yeah.
3D printer, if I was a kid, I would have been 3D printing stuff for my action figures.
Yeah.
Like, I would have had the capacity to do that. And so I've been waiting for 3D printing my whole life. So Play It 3D came in and really changed my mind on 3D printing. I
Yeah.
always looked at 3D printing as a certain kind of low end level, but the way that the attention that he puts to it, the sculptures, the art that he adds,
Yeah.
it makes it a way cooler thing. And then again, with these, you just almost don't even feel that it's 3D printed.
Yeah. Yeah, even
You
the
almost don't.
dimensions, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's pretty cool, and it kind of like made me want to touch on like the AI thing because it's like my motto is like work smarter, not harder, right? So if there's things like tools that you can use, kind of like AI, where right now it's the thing that everybody's talking about, right? Especially in the art world, where it's like
right,
where is it good to use, where is it not? I think it's like how, like you said, it's kind of relatable to what you just said. It's like it's how you use it, right? You're still using your creativity. It's not like getting rid of that part, like because you're using 3D painting and it makes it less, like, oh, it took less time for the artist to do it. I don't think so. There's also the creativity because, like you said, like even still, you're still having it painted, and that's another
correct.
form of creativity. So I'm all for it. I'm open. I'm an open-minded person. I know some people are more old school, where they have the old mentality, where it's like they've been doing it one way and they want to do it that way, and it's cool. But I think if we
Right.
have the tools, why not use them? And it's still we're
Why
still
not
using our
use them?
creativity. Yeah.
And you know what's funny is people will be critics about anything. For the longest time, the old stuff that I used to get was, oh, this is printed, like my canvases or my paper prints, and they'd be like, oh, this is printed, and like they point at it as if they just discovered something that has never existed for all of our lives, at least. It's
Yeah.
like, well, this is printed, and I'd be like, yes, it is. Well, that's cheating. And they'd be like, "What's cheating about it? I really drew it. It's that I
Yeah.
took a copy of it,
Yeah.
and
Made
now
a
I'm
multiple.
printing it."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Well, that's not art." And I go, "Okay, well, tell me what a T-shirt is, real quick. Hold on. Just tell me what a T-shirt is with a design on it. Is that a live painting on your shirt right now, sir?" And they'd be like, "No, it's what's it called? Final press. That's a form of printing, sir. You are not owning. You do not have
Yeah.
the original on your shirt." And they'd be like, well, this is art. And I go, they'd be like, oh, well, we're talking about art. You're making it look like it's live art. And I go, tell me where I'm making it look like live art. It's that you want it to be live art right now in this moment, so your point is correct. But the thing is, though, this is a piece that I did 4 years ago. I'm selling it still to this day, and I want you to have it if you so inclined to like it. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Yeah.
like, and then you take it a step further, and then you bring in like comic books where, oh, you're selling your prints, your print. This is print work because they want you to do live drawings. Like, they want everything to be a live drawing.
Yeah.
And then I go, but what's a comic book? And they go, it's a product. And I go, yeah, it's a product. There you go. It's a printed product. It's a bunch of paper printed on. None of the stuff that you're getting in a comic book is live artwork. You're never
Yeah.
getting the original. And so why would you think that I would sell you the original for pennies? And
Yeah.
that's all that it really is. So what they want is the prototypes that we sold last year for $50, $40. They want the live pieces of art. So we gave it to them. But we already gave it to you guys last year. Now it's time for the mass production.
Yeah.
Now it's time for my ideas to go a little bit further from the paper to now to the world. And however we get there, as long as the production is not harming the world,
Yep.
earth, child labor, all those things,
Yep.
Play 3D is one man inside of a 3D factory. You know what I'm saying? It's not child labor. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, what harm are we doing? And people are always going to be critics about it. They're
Yeah.
always going to. I've actually had live pieces of art hung up, and I've had people touch it, like with their bare fingers, as if it wasn't a live piece of art. And so my point is, no matter what you put in front of people, there's always a level of skepticism,
Yeah.
opinions, and it doesn't matter. That's for me.
Yeah.
Creativity is to be free, as
Yep.
long as you're the one not. Just don't rip people off. I
Yep.
guess that's the case.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I was saying, "Hey, this is an original piece of art, but it was obviously a print," I'm ripping you off.
Yep.
But
Yep.
if that's not the case, then I'm just trying to sell you product.
Yeah. And I always
Yeah.
feel like it's always the people that are not doing what you're doing, and then they're not artists. So it's like, come on, like it's like you go
Right.
do it. You
It's
go do
always
it.
that. Right. It's always that.
um, and I was gonna say too, like being in the creative journey that we just were talking about, like what's been like the most a challenging part, and then what's the most rewarding part.
I guess the most challenging part is with being a full-time artist with all the time in the world to just be an artist, and also on the other half is a businessman, slash woman, if who, everyone's out here, so everyone's working. But if you're an artist and you have all that time to be creative in the studio, the idea of what if none of the you create, and then you look up and you go, what if no one wants any of this shit?
That's always
That
on my
that
mind too. I
so
feel you.
you filming, you're recording yourself, you're becoming better on camera, like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, you're creating things, and you're creating a brand behind it. But then you look up from your little corner of tunnel vision and you go, what if no one gives you know what I mean? And then the rewarding part is like when I went to Ninja Exchange with these and I sold 50 of them. The rewarding part was all the reactions I got to catch on camera,
Yeah.
was the fact that the blind bags were picked up the way that they were. They're now chasing buddies. They were using buddies. The people that were buying, they were like, yeah, bro, this, I could see this already now in the future. People are gonna go, yo, I don't buddy green, I buddy purple. You know what I mean? Like they were using like an
Yeah.
acronym. And so that's the most rewarding, because all that self doubt that came when you got out of your tunnel vision after you created all this stuff, you put it to the world and see how the world reacts. I used to put stuff to the world, and it wasn't because that the world didn't want to react. It was because I wasn't putting it to the greatest stages of all time. Kobe Swap Me had a cap of what that stage is. The best
Yes.
part about Kobe Swap Me and things alike is that there's real people I get to meet in real life. Real people. Not just people that want to
Yeah.
be fans and fanatics about comics, collectibles, and anytime they see that, oh, you got the Marvel logo right there, I'm your fan now. Nothing wrong with that. But that wasn't what it was for me for the longest time. I used to sell my stuff off the ground. I used to give it to people that were just looking at it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that has always been the most rewarding, is the bringing it to the world.
Yeah, and you never like it's like you never know who your like supporters are gonna be too, and like you said, how people are gonna react, and I think that's really dope to see because I've been seeing like your reels that you've been posting. It's really cool, like the positive feedback you've been getting back from people. And you're right. Like I
Thank you.
think I was watching. I think you've probably seen it, but it's like Tyler the Creator. It's like it's a reel that's gone around like so many times where he talks about like you never know who's watching. Like how he found I forgot what artist he's talking about, and he's like that artist thought that nobody was watching his videos, and I watched it and I thought it was dope, and I reached out to him, and I forgot who it was, but that artist blew up too. And so I always think
Right.
about that too. Like you never know who's watching or who's supporting you, like that self doubt does. As a creative, I think we all have that, right? Where we're like, man, like, is anybody even gonna like it, or is anybody gonna buy it? But you
Right.
really don't know until you. And the good thing is that you're putting it out there, right? Because I think a lot of people, creatives, should I say, you have that fear, and sometimes that fear holds you back. And so it's good to experiment, and either if you fail or if you don't, like you'll learn from it. It's always like a lesson.
Exactly. There is no losing in that, and that's truly the best part about it. And the relying that I can have relief because of that truth. Where now 8 years, almost 9 years in, super deep into my creative process, trying to make it a career. Because I wasn't thinking about this when I was 16, 17 years old. I had no idea what I was gonna do. But the moment I decided to work on that and fixate on that future and that vision of that future, um, all the ups and downs of that came into fruition. And then when I think about it, I go, wow, that's why my vocabulary is this way. That's why I could talk this way. That's why I can articulate the vision this way and not be afraid of who's looking at me or what their eyes or face look like while I'm talking. I used to
Yeah,
be tripped up by that. If someone was not looking at me while I was trying to talk to them, I would just stop talking because it was like, dog, I don't even know where where your mind's at.
yeah,
But now I don't care. I know that this is for me. I know
yeah,
that I'm actually speaking it for myself because I'm a mirror to my own greatness. Just like why most people that really dig me as a person, it's not because, oh, he's so different and unique. Even though they'll say, oh, he's unique, bro, and there's no one like you. What they're really saying is, I see myself and my the coolest version of myself in that person, and all I try to do for that is let you know that that's you. It's not really about me. I'm here. I trust me. I like who I am too. I live my life to the fullest, but you don't have to look at it like I got something you don't. I
Yeah.
have everything you have, and I am that. And so that's why it's awesome, because the people that maybe have side remarks or certain energy towards you, it's not a personal thing. It's like really
It's a
not. It's
projection. Yeah.
they feel that, yeah, to
Yeah.
themselves. And I
Yeah.
don't pity them like I used to think I do.
Yeah.
I actually just don't. I don't involve it in my life anymore. So there's no room for pity. There's no room for looking at it and go, dude, what the heck? That's whack. Nah, it's just what it is. But I meet so many people that are really beautiful at heart,
Yeah.
that it all the things that kind of stress me out. And don't get me wrong, I've been stressed. I get stressed. All those things that stress me out, they kind of get shaken off by the people, because people will just tell you what they think about you. And it's like, oh man, I've had so many things happen this year alone where people are just telling me like, dude, you're this, man, you mean this to us, and the community loves you. And like, now they're speaking not just about themselves but the community. And comics collectibles, like, it's actually a community that's taken me in. And I
Yeah.
had to, like, you've seen and been to some of my events and stuff. I've had to create events to become truly a part of the comics collectible community. Before, I was in the underground art scene. I was at your favorite local underground concert that no one went to, at a nightclub in downtown San Diego that no one came to, and my artwork was on the walls. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I made no money. And while they were twerking ass, no one wanted to buy artwork. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I did
Yeah.
that. I did that in the very beginning of my career, and now I'm here where I could walk it to the Ninja Exchange, or I can go to a Comic Con, and people that I look up to are like, "Yo, Xander, what's going on, man? Tell me where you're at now. Tell me what's different." And it's like, and then I got voice actors a part of my events now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where when I think about it, last year when I did my first event, my second event, I had a actor from The Punisher there because he was selling a comic book and putting out a comic book. The next one after that was Mary Gibbs from Monsters Incorporated, and I met her serendipitously at Ninja Exchange, and she reached out and she said, "Hey, have you ever, need a tabling, da 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 da? Like, I would always love to come." And I'm like, "I'll build a whole event around you." You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
because of my mindset, I grew up with that movie. I understand the importance of these things, and so
Yeah.
I've now become a part of the community, not just because of drawings and my art, but because of my actual physical actions. I didn't
Yeah.
want to do any more swap meets or street fairs, so I decided to create the events that I'm looking for, which is a comic book based event. I work with venues and comic book shops that I have to call myself. I have to stop into the building myself, remind them that I'm here, wait 2 months in between, remind them that I'm here again.
Yeah.
And as things start locking in, you build a reputation. And
Yeah.
so people truly have been asking me, like the artists and stuff, like, "Yo, how are you doing this?" And I just be like, "Dude, I'm walking to all these places. I'm stepping into the building. I'm making the phone calls. I'm letting them know what the Xander Six Comics tour is." I've had people that were close to me go, "Why are you calling it a tour? It's not a tour, bro. Like, it's not what you say it is." 2 years me trying to call it a tour, then boom, last year it became a real one. And then this year there's no questioning it. But
Yeah.
I had to mentally be in a touring artist. Otherwise, this is just a pop up, and this is just work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now it's kind of sexy, and it's kind of got like a cool, entertaining vibe. And I'm even with the flyers. I'm learning how to design flyers that attract the eye, and make you go, okay, I want to do this, and that the people that show up to it, whether it's the artists, vendors, and then the main part is the goers, the people in the community are the reason why this has gone anywhere. So I had to do this to become a part of the comic books community. Even though I collected my whole life, I love
Yeah.
comics my whole life. The community is the one that builds me to where I'm at. So I'm always gonna serve the community energy that's pure. And by the time I get to a level where people always go, "Don't forget us little guys," I'll be like, "The little guys? I'm the smallest one out of all of you."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the
Yeah.
little guys is what brought it here. Like, bro, this I get it, but I'm not one of those. And by the time I get there, bro, like who knows what, you know what I mean? I won't be
Yeah.
one of those people. I never have been. I can't let my ego take control of anything because the you know my greatest compliments have actually been from homeless people, and you know they're not gonna buy your stuff,
Yeah, that's true.
and you know what I'm saying? They stop at your stuff and they're like, hey man, I like what you do, man. They got no teeth in their mouth. They're like, hey, I like what you do, man. Come on, man. You bringing love to the world, man. And I tell you, that's a real thing that someone said to me,
Yeah.
and that meant the most to me.
Yeah.
That meant the most to me. There's one guy in the story I've told many people in person. They laugh because I imitate what the guy did and how he
Hmm.
sounded, but
Yeah.
that's how I am. I'm not
Yeah.
making fun of nobody.
Yeah.
But he literally came up to my booth, and this is when I was at Kobe Suave and I was selling
Hmm.
off the ground, and I'm
Hmm.
like getting a little insecure about it because it's like a cracked asphalt and there's like barely any artwork there, and I'm like trying to sell it to people like
Yeah.
off the ground.
Yeah.
And he kept on coming up to me, homeless looking cat, and he just would sit there and be like this.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, and then at one point I go, hey, what's up, bro? What you need? But deep down I'm like, dude, what do you want? Go away. And he goes, you remind me of he goes, Warhol. And then he goes, and Van Gogh. And I was like, in my mind for 2 milliseconds, I was mad because I was like, what do you want, bro? And then immediately he said, you remind me of Warhol, Andy Warhol, and Vincent Van Gogh. And in that moment, I saw exactly what he saw. It was like, oh my God, bro, that is what this is. That is what my work is. Whoa, that's a, because
Yeah.
he put me on to not the seller and the businessman that I want to be.
Hmm.
He put me on to my spirit and my soul, like what I lay down on these pieces. And I
Yeah.
was so attached to ego driven shit, looking bad, looking not cool. My
Hmm.
artwork's on the ground. Who cares? He saw what it was, and Vincent Van Gogh never sold none of his art. Andy
Yeah, that's true.
Warhol only ever sold art. He became the biggest art seller in the world. So it was a contradiction in
Yeah.
one sentence.
Yeah.
But it made, because I realized, oh, that's who I am. I'm going to sell this work, and it's going to be as great as Vincent Van Gogh. And Vincent Van Gogh's on people's earrings, on people's T-shirts. I'm over here sparking up. I don't know what
Yeah.
just happened. That
Yeah, I
was
don't know me
crazy.
either.
That was crazy. I don't
I
know what
know
that
that's
just caught me
crazy
off
that
guard.
I know that was crazy. I didn't even touch anything. I thought it was like you,
Whoa,
and it came out at the right time. That was creepy.
that was crazy. Okay,
But that was
sorry. I don't
cool.
know.
That was
It
cool.
caught me off guard. But so yeah, that right there, just as awesome as that is,
Yeah.
real life has given me that, and so I realized I'm gonna be just as impactful as a Vincent Van Gogh, and because I'm deciding to bring my perspective of the universe and how I see people or things, and I'm gonna bring that into my work, and then I'm also gonna be someone who owns it, sells it, and gives it to the people. And then, like I said, my purpose once it's over, my purpose will be fulfilled, and it's like I can move on to the next world. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
Yeah.
that to me is beautiful. So, kind of circling back to the greatest pitfalls of being an artist and the greatest parts of being an artist is the fact that the process will allow you to go through every serious or funny emotion, happy, sad, mad, out of your mind, pulling your hair
Yeah.
out of your head, and then it'll bring you right back to the light of what all this is about and for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, where you're meant to be. Yeah, that's really cool. Like a full circle type of thing. Like, because like you said about like forming your own community and where you started up from the ground up. From like Kobe's to where you're at now. And I think that you said a really strong point that I've done myself too is like putting yourself in those places because nobody else is gonna do it for you. And like start your own kind of community and get to know the people because at the end of the day it's about relationships too. A lot of people forget that like you can do a lot of stuff through social media but it's not the same thing as like hitting the ground running, showing like your work is like that's pretty much what you did is like your hard work is paying off and it's also like the relationship that you built with people and like genuine connections because some people try to use connections in the wrong ways, and just kind
Yeah.
of like ego driven. But you're, from like the times that I've interacted with you, it's like it's genuine. It's not like you're trying to get like an exchange, like a relationship where it's like an exchange, you know. So
Right.
it's really dope to see you like winning, and like I said, because it's like it was like, I think I want to say it was like 2017 maybe when I got your piece. It was around that time, I think. I can't
It was a
remember.
long
It
time
was a
ago.
while ago. Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's the thing, as I remembered you. I go, I saw you on Instagram when I first, when you were at my event, the last one. I go,
yeah.
I saw you on Instagram, and I go, I know you from somewhere. And then you were like, oh yeah, I've seen your artwork before, and I go, yeah, you've bought a piece before because I remember that, and that's what I'm saying is if it was 2017,
If
then
I
it was
was,
in the
yeah.
era where you might have been the only one who bought that Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I
Yeah, it
mean?
was.
Like
I think it was
I
2017 because I would hit the Kobe's like a lot around that year, and it's crazy because it's
yeah.
like what 7 years. It's my favorite number, so it's like 7 years ago. So that's crazy. Like the
Right.
evolution
Right.
of like where you've gone. That's really dope though. Like I'm happy for
Thank
you,
you.
and I'm happy to see like what you and your wife are doing together, like the collab, and hopefully it goes well, and oh, I know it's gonna go well in the LA Comic Con. But kind of to talk about like hip hop, right? Because that's kind of like where I kind of like how I met you, right? Doing like hip hop art and stuff like that. I really like to ask this question. Like it's either your choice, so either like top five hip hop albums or top five hip hop artists.
I'll probably do albums just so that I can not have a long conversation of trying to decipher my list.
Yeah.
Um, albums, I would say Take Care, Drake. This is not in any particular order. This is
Okay.
just how it's kind of impacted my life and when I'm how I'm thinking of it. Is Take Care, Drake, Trilogy by The Weeknd. And I know that's not hip hop, but that's
Still,
definitely
yeah, kind
it's
of
definitely
is.
part of music culture.
Yeah.
So, um, Lil Wayne, Carter 3,
Yeah, that's a good one.
um, Eminem, Marshall Mathers, LP or EP, LP, um, and then Nipsey Hussle's Victory Lap.
Okay, that's a good
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah, like impactful in my life. Those, and they're all kind of in different realms of hip hop.
That's cool. And what about like either a rap song or a hip hop album that you would want to hear like for the first time? If you can rehear it for the first time, what album or what song and why?
I wish and this is only for the story of it, that I wish this. I wish that I could remember and be a part of, uh, when I first heard Get Rich or Die Trying, and also the game,
Yeah.
where
Or
he's, with the album where he's sitting on the
the
tires with the golden
documentary?
tire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So my uncle, he like came and visited us with my cousins, and he had like a big old Escalade car, right? And he was showing us the new car. He's showing the whole
Yeah.
family a new car, and then
Yeah.
we're all in the car, and this is when I'm like 7 or 6, and he's like, this right here's the future, man. He's like, this right here's the future. Okay, this that shit. He's like, I got this exclusively. He's saying it ain't out yet, right? It was my uncle because he was like a
Yeah.
DJ back in the day, all this
Yeah.
shit. And so he's like, this that shit, man. It's the future. And he fucking put on 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying, and then some songs from the
The game.
documentary, and I just remember it slapping, but I just didn't know the impact. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Of like it's not such a core memory. It's more of a core memory that I'm remembering because of my older sibling, because of how he explains it and stuff. And so I
Yeah.
only remember it slightly that way, but I would have loved to have heard that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a pretty cool. That's
for
a
the
cool
first
story.
time.
I just remember like
Thank you.
the spinners too, like in those Escalades. I remember I wanted
Yeah,
some
that's
for the
what was
longest time.
crazy about it. Yeah, that's what was crazy about it. It was like literally an Escalade. He was like, "Get the Escalade!" Like it was so
That's
funny.
funny. What about? I don't know if you're like a horror fan, but I like asking like, if you could be in a horror movie, which one would you pick, and what character would you play, and why?
If they ever come out with Spawn and it's like the movie that
Yeah,
they said it's gonna be, a
yeah,
true superhero horror film,
that'd be dope. Yeah,
um, I would love to be a part of that movie, as a behind the scenes, like doing stuff for it.
Yeah.
But as far as like a horror movie that I wish I was in, I'm deadly afraid. It's funny that your logo is you as Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
I am deadly afraid of Freddy Krueger. I used to have to sing Spider Man, Spider Man. I used to
Yeah.
have to sing that in my head before I went to bed so that I wouldn't think of Freddy Krueger. And one,
So,
two,
yeah.
Freddy's coming after you. I like
Yeah.
that used to scare the shit out of me. So I used to
Yeah.
sing the Spider Man song to counteract
Yeah. That's
the
funny.
Nightmare on Elm Street song. But I would actually, I would love to be a part of that movie.
Yeah.
To get over my fear.
Yeah.
I would have loved to like work on that movie to see the movie aspect of it, and then
Yeah.
American Werewolf in London.
Oh
That's
yeah, I
like
love that. That's my
I
favorite
would have
werewolf movie.
loved to be a part of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
And then Spawn, yeah, we'll manifest that the Spawn one that you'll work on it. I
yes,
would
we
love to.
got
I love the
to.
'90s one, even though it's like I rewatch it and it's kind of like those cheesy '90s. But John
Yeah,
Leguizamo as like that bad guy, cracks me up.
hell
Um,
yeah.
and I was gonna say, like, do you have any like top five horror movies that you? I don't know if you how often you watch horror movies, but do you have a top five?
I'm the scariest scaredy cat because my imagination's well and really good. So I will dream about the shit and I will think about the shit right before I go to bed.
Yeah.
But top five, I do like scary movies. I like movies, so I
Yeah.
like a good classic. One that I thought was good when I first saw it was the remake of It,
Oh yeah, that was actually
and
pretty
then
good.
the second one to that was pretty fire too, where they're like
Yeah.
adults.
Yeah.
That was really dope. So I like the way they did that. That's a good movie, but also scary as hell. Um, Nightmare on Elm Street, number one. American Werewolf in London. Actually, that might be number one just because I love that one so much.
Yeah.
I'm not
Same
sure if this
here.
is a horror film, but Lost Boys, that's my
Oh yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
vampires.
like
Yeah.
I love Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
Um, I like that. You know, I used to always go watch with like on dates and stuff or big groups of people when I was younger was Paranormal Activity. That was always like whenever one of those came out,
Yeah.
that was like we gotta go see it, even though it was just so scary. Um, and then I'm trying to think, not a movie, but a film that I really dig is that movie Split.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess kind of
You know what I'm
horror
talking
thriller a
about?
little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
It's pretty terrifying if you like when you really think about it. But yeah, the
Yeah.
actor who plays that guy, the
Yeah, James
who's
McAvoy, right?
like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
he was like that was genius. Like
Yeah.
I did not need him to be the younger Professor X. I needed him to be that character. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
And
saying?
it's kind of comic book
Um,
too, that movie. Like it's like that horror comic book thriller to it because of the whole trilogy. I think it's like a trilogy. With like
Something
Mr.
like that.
Glass. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mr. Glass, and then it
yeah.
was with It started with Unbreakable. So
And that's an old film or something, right?
yeah, well,
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable's from I think the late '90s or early 2000s with Bruce
Okay,
Willis,
so it's an
and
extension.
yeah, and then Mr. Glass I think was the third one. I think because I think Split was the second one.
That's
I can't remember. I think I forget the order, but it's because Samuel L. Jackson was into like comics and all this stuff, and he's the one that caused everything because he knew like Bruce Willis was a superhero supposedly, so he caused the accident
uh
to make sure that he was like actually like a superhero who couldn't die.
shit.
So it's crazy. So it's like all kind of I think connects if I'm not mistaken. Or
Okay, yeah, yeah,
maybe I'm confusing it, but I want to say it's all connected, but I could be wrong. I think it might be just because M Night directed it, so it might be separate. Now that I think about it, actually, it's different. I think it's Unbreakable and Mr. Glass are the two, and then I think Split is its own. But I can't. I for some reason I thought it was like related to it, but maybe not
I
because
think Split is in it, so it's not
it's
like Split 2. It's like Mr. Glass. I think that's what you're talking about, or the other one, Unbreakable. I just remember the cover for the newest one was an Alex Ross painting, and it was like broken glass,
yeah,
and you could see
yes,
all the people in it. And that's actually because the Split movie by itself was like kind of like a pretty scary movie, and I think when I saw that one that you're talking about, the most recent one with Samuel Jackson, it turned
Yeah.
into like a comic book movie. It like
Yeah,
quickly
you're
turned
right. Yeah,
into.
yeah. I was confusing it. Yeah, because it says. Oh yeah, it says it split as a standalone sequel to Unbreakable. So it is. So it is part of the trilogy. Okay, I thought I was tripping, but it is. It's somehow connected. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
because I think the connection is Samuel L. Jackson to the two movies.
Yeah, and at the end, I think Bruce Willis was in Split or something, and
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, some
Yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
And you're like,
But
"What the hell's this? Is this an Avengers movie?"
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's a really dope movie. Yeah. Yeah. Like James McAvoy is like killed it at that as that role for sure.
Oh my god, the way he switches to characters is
Yes.
like creepy but so good. It was like
Yeah.
I like when he's the 10-year-old kid. He's like etc. I
Oh
love
yeah.
I love when he's the 10-year-old kid
Yes.
or whatever.
Yeah, he killed it for sure. A part of me felt like bad too, because I'm like, man, I feel bad for this dude. Like, at the same time,
Right, right.
is that his fault? I guess. Like, I don't know.
And then like the other character he is like eats the people. Like
Yeah, that
yeah,
monster. Yeah,
that's scary. So yeah, so that I would say that's a pretty
that's
good
a good one.
one. Not the best at horror films, so I'm not like my knowledge isn't crazy
Yeah.
about
No,
it.
but those are really good picks. Yeah, and American Werewolf in London for sure. It's like my number one too. I have like a poster of it somewhere here, but I love that movie. Like
Oh
just
hell
like
yeah.
the practical effects. Like I feel like it's crazy how like back in the day, like they had like really like just really nothing to go off of. It was all practical, but it feels so real. So I admire all those movies. Like it's crazy.
Without that movie, we don't get Thriller. We don't
Yeah.
get Thriller, the music
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
Like
John Landis.
without Thriller, we don't get everything that's happened now in pop culture.
Yep.
Yeah, no. So I really think that we just watched a documentary type thing on the Alien, the first movie,
Oh yeah.
and it was pretty cool. The beginning part was pretty cool of it because it was like talking about the practical filming of it and how like the camera it was like it was never still, and
Yeah.
so like even just that feeling of it, and then how they kind of had to make these like illusions happen, and like
Yeah.
how filming a quiet place like a spacecraft it can build this tension and stuff. So I like the way that horror movies and movies alike like that they tell the story, and then they also discover like things about filming that a
Yeah.
regular movie can't. A regular movie can't do certain pauses or certain effects or use music the way that the horror films use music, because sometimes the music's the main part for
Yep.
the horror
Yeah.
film.
Yeah. It changes it up for sure. And even like the art concepts, like I don't know if it's the one that you watched was Memory, because I watched one that was called Memory for the Alien. There's like obviously a lot of documentaries,
Yes.
but that one was really dope because it's like H.G. Geiger. I forgot the guy that actually drew the concepts for like how
Right.
the alien was gonna look. Like even that, because I think that's what I love about horror too. Now that you say it that way, that it's like so creative too. Like everything that goes behind it, whether the practical effects or the creation of a monster or whatever, like it's all with an artist's mind too. So I thought that was really dope how he had this weird concept and it became what it came. Kind of reminded me, kind of to connect it like full circle to the buddies, how you said like it was kind of like a 2D thing and then it became a 3D. 4D, like in the
Right.
movies where it became like a 4D, and like look at it now, like we have all these alien movies, like the Romulus just came out, and that one was really dope.
I
But
haven't seen it yet. I
you have
haven't
to
seen
watch
that
it.
one yet.
Yeah, you
Okay.
have to watch it for sure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I really loved it. But just to kind of wrap it up here, and before you get out of here, I really like to end it with this question: is like, what kind of like legacy would you like to leave behind, either creatively or personally, or like both?
Both. It would be to leave people a little bit happier than like probably they feel, and then or get people closer to um feeling better about what it is that life is for them. And having things that kind of let people know where I felt like in my life. Being an artist is very lonely of an occupation. I created a buddy, and I know that
Yeah,
sounds cheesy and corny, but I created a friend forever. And that is a testament to my career as a whole, is that I've been doing this by myself. I've had very little bit of soundboards to bounce these ideas off of. I've had strangers my entire career be those soundboards and be people that say, "Yeah, man, you're gonna change our city. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that." Like how you even said you're gonna have a great LA Comic Con. I've always been blessed in that way where maybe I didn't have the social media videos, I didn't have the viral format to make reels and TikToks, and I didn't become a YouTuber, and I have millions of views and followers. Maybe that's not what I have at my age of 27, because people, they compare, and they
Yeah.
put you in that box because of your age or whatever it is. I've always been outside of that, and I used to like kind of like the Cindy Lauper said, where she said I compare myself to my peers, and I wonder why I don't get the look, I don't get this. But then she goes, but the life I lived, the people I got to sing with, the people I've got to learn how to do certain things. I got to learn directly from Butch Hartman, the creator of not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the creator of Timmy Turner for Fairly Odd
Oh yeah.
Parents, drew on Johnny Bravo. You know what I'm saying? I got to learn straight from him by looking at his work, but also talking to him about like, yo, you found your shapes. I think it's a trip because these are all the same shapes, and that's what makes your art style iconic. And then that person is going, I could tell this is your signature style because he's looking at my artwork. Yo, man, keep going with this, da 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 da, and then give me a little bit of advice. I got advice from Jim Lee, to just get the work and do it to the best of your ability. Don't worry about people copying you. I got to have Todd McFarlane when I put my toy down, custom toy down of my character. I got to have him stop doing what he was doing when he was signing artwork, and him look up and go, "What is this?" And I get to tell him, "This is Z. He's not a superhero, man. He's an artist, and he's just trying to become a star, but not the one on Hollywood Boulevard. More like the real one, bro." And he's looking at me going, "Wow, that's amazing.
That's
Look
cool.
at the colors, the creativity. This is awesome." I got to then be in front of Mark Silvestri, and all these guys that I'm naming just happen to be the guys that created Image Comics. And it's like I got to be in front of Mark Silvestri to tell him, thank you for drawing women the way you do, because it's spot on, bro. Like, it's not about sexiness, it's about the beauty of a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you guys like do it in such a way with your art that here's drawings of women, of me trying to be as good as you drawing a woman. Like, so here you go. Oh man, you gotta sign this for me, bro. Now I'm taking a picture with him. I'm gonna be doing stuff with these people, and I go and think to myself, wow, I really compare myself to my peer group. Like, why am I not getting this? Why isn't my social media picking up in this way? Dude, you get to live a life that most people don't ever get to touch. I've got to
Yeah.
see the life. And that's the thing is, I've been recording stuff for so long, hoping that there one day will be a platform to show people my journey. But then after all these years of recording it, I realized I was behind the camera the entire time, so I didn't even really get to show you what I did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my legacy is through the people that got to meet me in live time. I may not get a time period where I get to be known that way, but thousands upon thousands of people know me. They got a picture with me. They hugged me. Just like how I've got to experience it with Nipsey Hussle, where my artwork shows, makes people pull up their sleeve and there's a Nipsey tattoo on them. And like how many people have pulled up their pants sleeve and arm sleeve to show me Nipsey on them? Or and then immediately after that to go, yo, check this out, and they pulled their phone out and there's a picture of them with Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
I realized one day after having that 100th time of happened to me,
Yeah.
I go, damn, bro, I'm really touching the world like Nipsey did before the world got to see him, because they only got to see him at the capacity that they do because of losing his life. But
Yeah.
he touched the world and he did what he set out to do.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to leave here is letting people know, like, you're not really alone. You're as great as you feel you are. Every idea that you have, you should put it out there in some capacity, because tomorrow's not promised. And don't worry about people taking your energy. Don't worry about them taking your ideas. Don't worry about it, because they could never do what you do, and
Yeah.
that's true to all of us. You
That's true.
you you be yourself to the fullest ability. No one could decoy it. They
Yeah.
could try. They could honestly try, but no one can if you're the truest version of yourself. So hopefully I do that, and when I'm gone, everything will follow, and it'll be just as hard, and hardships will always be hard for people. You're gonna lose family members, you're gonna lose loved ones, you're gonna love and lose that love, and you know what I mean, and like
Yeah.
you're gonna go through life already, but like thank God for the Vincent Van Goghs. I don't have to cut my ear off, and I don't have to do chemicals and kill myself, or because I don't feel loved. I get to create beautiful work like he does, and I get to love myself this time around. In this generation, there's enough self love and knowledge about self love that we can actually love ourselves this go around, instead of like the past where you could see that, back in my day, it was we just listened to our parents, and it's like, yeah, but when did you become a human being?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Like,
start believing in
because
yourself and
yeah,
rewiring your own thoughts. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm
yeah.
blessed to be that, like, where my a lot of my family members were in the military,
Hmm.
prior, so like World War II on up. Um, and I'm my dad and me are the ones that didn't, and aren't.
Hmm.
And that is, instead of making me spoiled, it's actually given me a lot of respect and understanding, because my grandfathers and my uncles were in the military, serving wars, and at one point, serving a war that they shouldn't even have been in, which was Vietnam,
Yeah.
and letting me know, you don't do that if you don't have to. You don't have to grow up in the era where a man's got to be a man and a woman's got to be a woman. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I know Prince, the artist. That's
Yes.
like, what is so if Prince is icon, he's my icon. What is being a man and a woman being a woman mean? Because I saw Prince do Purple Rain in high heels
Yeah.
and change the world. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know what any of that stuff means. I don't know what structure at that degree is. I just know that I try to do I try to do what I felt that I should do through my work, and I put a lot of love in it. And right now, my phase of right now of my art, I'm drawing a lot of the cosmos. I'm drawing the stars, and I'm drawing my character Z, who's an astronaut in space, but really, like I said, he's just trying to become a star, but not the one on Hollywood Boulevard, the real one, the one that shows you your path, your real
Yeah.
self. And so that's where I'm at in
Cool.
my life, and I hope to end my life in that phase where I used to draw people, and now I draw the stars, I draw the planets, I draw flowers and trees, and I'm just in that space now. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
heal myself, because I spent so much time unhealed.
Yeah. No, I feel
So
you, and I think I've that's one thing that what you said about like like oh like one day I'm gonna make it big, or like even just caring about the right now, right? Like because like you said, tomorrow's never promised. Like we're losing people, like I said, loved ones every day, or every couple years. And so I think somebody had said, I forgot where I read it, where it's like we're always, as humans, I think we're always like, oh, like when I hit that level, or when I blow up, it's like that one level. But even if you get there, and I think Russ talks about it too, like even when you get there, you're still gonna want more. So I think it's like about like the right now. And I think what you're doing is really, like I said, it's inspirational, motivational. I'm pretty sure like you have other people like in the field that you're doing, that like they're watching you do what you're doing, and they're like inspired by it. And so I think you're off to a great start. Like I feel like the legacy is also what we're doing like right now. Like you said, you don't see it until after the fact, like you're talking about like filming yourself, right? But even looking back, like right now, everything that we just talked about, like it's crazy, like your evolution of how you've grown so much as an artist, and like where you're at today. And so that, to me,
correct.
that's very motivational and really dope. And thank you for taking the time to share part of your journey here with us. And I know a lot of people are going to take a lot from this episode. But
Thank you for having me, family.
yeah,
Yeah, it's to end it real quick.
yeah,
It's like what I said when I was in middle school. I wrote a really awesome paper, and it was the same question: what is your legacy?
yeah,
And the whole paper was how I can't tell you what my legacy is, because you get to watch it, and I'm getting to live it right now. So it's
yeah,
in the making. So I can't tell you what it is. At this point in my life, I have a guess of what I think I am and my purpose.
yeah,
And individuals like yourself that come along, I know it's a special thing because nothing happens for just coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in what is destined and what is
Me
written
too.
in the stars.
Yeah.
And everyone that comes in to my life in the space is it's not just business. This isn't a lucrative interview. This is
Yeah.
like I knew I needed to exchange energy with you. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And give you
Likewise.
something because you've given me so much. Whether it was being someone who supported my work in 2017 to then coming to two of my events to then now having me on this interview to talk and just before I went on this interview I felt like complete shit, but the
No.
moment I saw you on the screen we just talked for a second, I got ready for the interview,
Yeah.
and I know that that's a blessing. So you're a
Yeah.
blessing, and you're appreciated, family. Thank you.
No, thank you. That means a lot for sure. And before we get out of here too, you said you wanted to plug in something, so I think it's something about buddies. So I'll give you that platform before we get out of here.
Thank you. Thank you. So two things before I do the buddies thing. I showed this for 2 seconds, but this is my next event
October
after
12th.
Comic Con LA. It's October 12th, and we're gonna have the voice actor for Sunspot and Jubilee. Both will
Nice.
be there, and then that also has this list of artists here, comic book artists, including myself, from Kevin Tran, Philip Quick, Dope RX, Action Figure God will also be there,
Nice.
and including myself. And then we will have Cold Cuts Deli working the
Oh,
DJ
nice.
table live with vinyl. So bring your own vinyls.
Oh,
That's
shit.
going to
Okay.
be a super fun part of that event. We're going to have music, comics, actors, and the community will be there. I hope to see you there
Oh,
as
yeah. I
well.
definitely have to make that for sure.
And then the next thing I want to showcase and kind of give you guys just an early look, but it's not going to be too far from now. But
Okay.
we got the
Oh, nice.
official official Forever Buddy, and
Oh,
the
wow. That's
reason
cool.
why this one is super cool, not only because the colors.
Yeah.
The colors really remind me of like the first graphic that I did because this is the green I was looking to do.
Yeah. It's like more like
Um,
neon, right? A little bit.
yeah, like a neon green. But the
Yeah.
best part about this is he's squishy,
Oh, that's dope.
and so now you actually have a buddy forever, and now it's really like an anxiety toy,
Oh,
relief
yeah.
toy. So instead of like a fidget spinner or the poppers,
Yeah.
for adults, you can't be popping things as an adult,
Yeah.
but you can grab your buddy
Yeah. Like
in
squeeze
your
it.
in your pocket, and you can kind of get away with that. And here's a cool thing about this though, we actually tested it. You
Hmm.
could run over this with your car. It will not be damaged, and it won't even freaking have a tire mark on it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we got the squishable Forever Buddy.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a product that I have for a long time. This is gonna be kind of how I put out the official buddies,
Okay.
and we'll be debuting it as a blind bag, a limited blind bag
Uh huh.
for LA Comic Con on the 4th,
Okay.
and then I'm only putting out like 5 of them.
Hmm.
But the best part about it is, again, this will be produced, and then I will officially put it out, ready for everyone to be able to have. But I'm very excited about this. That's
That's pretty
why
dope.
I was saying I have a big announcement, because this is kind of what the Buddies was really designed for, was to be not only your smoke pal, but just something that you keep on hand. And I've
Yeah.
been looking for the right material, and Play It 3D really made this happen. This is
Yeah.
a part of his genius, and so um, we go back and forth on vision, and I tell him things that I want to do, and he's helped me actualize it in ways that I just really can't explain. So this I'm so excited about
Yeah.
because he finally he finally found it, and when I saw this, I was like, wow, that's what this is about. So
Yeah.
these, like the blind bags, are going to be super affordable. I'm not trying to. I sold prototypes for $50.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell you guys another buddy for $50 unless it's a big buddy.
Yeah.
I want to sell you guys something that's affordable, $10 to $15. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just grateful to be in that space now where I can like finally have that thing where it doesn't cost an arm and a leg just because of printing costs and everything else
Yeah.
like that. Like I used to sell T-shirts at $80 because it costed $30 to print
Yes, you have to make your
them.
profit back. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's
So
crazy.
this is the most exciting thing that's going on in my life right at this moment.
That's
It's
cool.
also a dedication to my Uncle Richard, who passed away a couple
Mm.
weeks ago.
May he rest in peace.
Um, Thank you, thank you. He was a buddy himself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know the toys, homies. You know the homie
Yes.
toys.
Yeah. The little cholos.
So yes, the little cholo. So my Uncle Richard is a real life homie.
Okay.
He looked like he
Yeah.
could have been a homie
Like
toy.
character.
Yeah, because
I love those. I
uh
used to have them too.
Mexican Mexican American,
Yeah.
grew up in Whittier in LA, and so he had that outfit on where it was the plain
I
T-shirt
was gonna say like
with the
little white
plaid,
beater.
yeah, with the plaid shorts that go below the knee
Yeah.
with the white high top socks. But
Yeah.
he was a very beautiful person, and he was a rocker, and he was also a hip hopper.
That's cool.
And he grew up in he was born in the '60s, and he got to go through the era of Cheech and Chong
Oh yeah.
and when weed wasn't allowed and to see it become what it was. He was my liaison to good bud when I was of age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got to smoke my first bit of wax. Even though I don't really like wax,
Yeah.
I got to smoke my first bit of hash because of my Uncle Richard. And so when he passed, I was in the middle of developing the buddies furthermore for
Hmm.
potential mass production. And when he passed, shortly after, I had realized because I had drawn some stuff for the homies. I had drawn homies for a client,
Hmm.
and then it reminded me of my uncle, and he was gone, and I go, wow, I'm actually in the middle of making homies, my version of the homies, because they're the
Yeah.
same size,
Yeah.
and they have that same feeling. It's one word.
Yeah.
It's
With
a
the
really
Z.
dope name. Yeah,
Yeah.
with the Z, buddies with the Z, and it just hit me, and I go,
Yeah.
I need to do this. I need to do this now because I was waiting for a very long time.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't. I was scared.
Yeah.
I was scared, and then that loss in my life pushed me to just go for it and say, you know what, let's do it. Let's put
Life
it
is
out
short.
there.
Yeah.
This is for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
for the rest of the world as well. So, yeah,
That's really
be
dope.
on the lookout. We got the Forever Buddy coming very soon.
When is that one gonna be out for like the public, or are you able to say, or you're still like thinking of dates?
Well, the best part about this is I can kind of do whatever I want with it. So
Yeah.
I'm releasing it in person at LA Comic Con. There's only going to be 5 or 6 of them
Hmm.
at in store for the blind bags, and then a few weeks after that, I will be putting them out as like a forever product
Okay.
alongside the blind bags. But this is the one that you will get to buy that you know that you're buying. With the blind bags, you could be
Yeah, you
winning,
can get a different
and I'll
color, right?
correct. And actually, I'll pop out the purple one right now just so you can see it. And the blind bags for this set, you got the purple with the perps, and then you got
Hmm.
OG green, and then the chase is actually. I'll pull this one out here. The chase right now for this first batch is the shimmery golden buddy.
Oh, nice. And how much are
So
those going for? The blind bags?
they're 15. If you buy 2, you get the third one free. So you get 3 options to win. So you could literally win all 3 for $30, and then
Oh,
35
okay.
if you're doing it online. So I got to ship it to you. Um, but yeah, that's what we're debuting. This is exactly what we're debuting at LA Comic Con.
That's dope.
I will also have the 1-inch full vinyl resin buddy there at LA Comic Con. We'll have a few chases like this. This is going to be 6, only 6 available. But the reason why it's so limited is because it will be available for the rest of the world to have soon after. And then
Yeah.
we'll have another few colorways for the blind bags each day
That's
because
cool.
this will be gone first day.
Yeah.
So we'll have some more, but these will always be the forever buddies as well.
The
OG
OGs.
green and
Yeah.
perps. And this is the perps on the backside, just to kind
That's
of get
cool.
a cool
And
visual. But yeah,
and what about
yeah.
that
So
squishy one? Are you ever gonna make like a bigger size? 'Cause it's like what, like a 1 inch, right? Like the squishy version of it.
yeah, this is about. Let me see, because it's about
Oh yeah, it's a little bit bigger. Oh yeah,
1.5, maybe almost 2 inches, just
yeah,
below 2 inches. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll There's definitely going to be bigger buddies. Actually, I'll show you a big one right now. This is the
yeah. Oh
big
wow.
purple one right here, and to give you just a great example of
Oh,
how
I like
much
the
bigger it
scale.
is.
That's crazy.
And this is a full resin one. These will be available, only the ones, and to be able to buy in person, but you have
Yeah.
to buy it on Sunday at the very end, or you can pre-order your buddy at this size there at LA Comic Con. So for this one though, it will be available in this size for a while, and then
Okay.
as we go, we'll start making them bigger. But this one, I'm very excited about it because these sizes are, first of all, perfect. They're about like what an eighth would be, about
Yeah.
3.5 grams of what cannabis is. Um, and so you're always, that's usually what people are buying when they're buying little bit amounts
Yeah. Yeah.
for actual dispensary. And then eventually we'll have like the giant buddies.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm putting everything out one by one, and I'm trying not to overcomplicate it because
Yeah.
there's endless ideas and
Oh yeah.
everyone always hits me with it. They're like,
Yeah.
"Yo, you should do a grinder as a buddy." I'm like, "It's coming." You should do a pipe as a buddy. I'm like, "It's coming." You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I will be doing that with this because again, this product, this one is more of the harder one. The
Yeah.
actual squeezable buddy, it's actually even squishier.
Yeah.
So this is the really thick one.
Yeah.
But even if it wasn't fully squeezable, it's the material. It kind of feels like a regular toy, like a designer toy that you get, at a designer con or something like that from Mighty
Yeah.
Jacks or something like
Okay.
that.
That's cool.
So I really enjoy this one because it's just, yeah, we ran over it with a car today. It does not break. It does not. It squishes all the way down flat and it comes back up with no streaks, nothing.
That's
So
really good.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like because I suffer from anxiety, so I was like I'm already thinking like I was just thinking about like a bigger, like a little bit of bigger, like kind of like a size of a ball, like where you just want to squeeze,
yeah.
like a stress ball, So it's pretty
It
cool.
it is.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, I've had this in my pocket for 4 days straight.
yeah,
I literally grab it, I keep it in my hand, and I forget that I have it. Because trying to get everything ready for LA Comic Con, I've been really stressed out,
yeah.
and I'm behind on so much. And then I kind of like realized like, yo, I'm like actually using this as like a
Like a
fucking,
reliever, stress
yeah, like
reliever.
a stress ball. Yeah. So no matter how strong you are, or how stressed you are,
Yeah,
this shit ain't going nowhere.
yeah.
You can't fuck it
Buddies are
up.
forever.
Buddies forever.
All right, I love that, man. Well, thank you so much.